Hello, my name is Nicola Pomponio. Thank you for joining us at the Mionetto Bubbly Happy Hour. We are so excited to be able to virtually travel to Italy today. Tonight, we discover one of the most historical estates of the Veneto, just 1 hour from one of my favorite cities in Italy, Venice. Representing Mionetto, I would like to introduce Jimmy Bruton, and Jimmy is the brand director of Mionetto Prosecco in the USA. Welcome, Jimmy.
Good evening, buona serata. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here. So tonight we're going to be tasting 3 Mionettos, so basically the Mionetto range. But I'm going to start off basically by maybe telling you a little bit about Mionetto and a little bit about Prosecco. So Mionetto, the winery, we were established back in 1887 by Francesco Mionetto. So we've got over 130 years of winemaking experience. I mean, in that time, we've evolved immensely, but we've always kept the tradition of the region's winemaking practices as our core. So Francesco Mionetto, he established the vineyard in 1887. The winery was established in a small village called Valdobbiadene. So here we go, if you have a quick picture. So this is 1887 and now. So it hasn't changed much. I think it was probably beautiful blue skies back in 1887 then, but obviously with these sepia or black and white photos, you can't quite see it, but it's always blue sky in Valdobbiadene. So the area is just north of Venice, but basically this is the heart of the Prosecco region. So they call it the cradle of Prosecco.
Right.
So Francesco Mionetto, he founded it, and actually his great-great-grandson, who's also called Francesco Mionetto, he still works for the winery alongside our head winemaker, Alessio. So it's this knowledge and know-how that's handed down from generation to generation. It's really, really important for us. So we talk about it being men, not machines, or men and women and not machines that make our wines so special.
When did Mionetto come to the United States?
Okay, so good question, Nick. So we're kind of proud that we're basically the Prosecco that introduced Prosecco to the United States and to Americans. So that was back in 1997. It was, and it's been a great history since then. So I'd say our success in the US really has relied on our quality. So Mionetto's never tried to imitate champagne or other sparkling wines. It has its own characteristics. So, and those characteristics are expressed through the grape. Right. But it's all about elegance and balance. So Prosecco is simple, fresh, and easy to enjoy, but it's very casual and approachable. So 1997, we sold our first bottle. We're kind of proud that we're the world's favorite Prosecco, but we're excited by how much Prosecco seems to be enjoyed by American consumers.
I can go back to 1997, and I remember back then I was actually buying wine for a restaurant, and I remember them presenting Mionetto, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. We tried the wine. I loved the flavor profile, and I started thinking to myself, I wonder if this Prosecco thing's going to catch on, and boy, has it caught on. We are doing gangbusters here in the U.S. with this brand. It's amazing. It's amazing what Mionetto has actually done for the U.S. market.
But I think, being different and separate from champagne is kind of very important to us. So at the very beginning, a lot of people used to say, well, you're Italian champagne, and we're like, yeah, well, you can kind of call us that, but it's not really the same. So we have our own style, and it's really the grape that makes a big difference between Prosecco and champagne.
Right. So, where exactly, before we get into the grapes, where exactly is it located in the Veneto region? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So you've got a little map here. So this is map of Italy, and basically top right-hand corner, so the top of the boot, there are two regions called Veneto and Friuli. So,
Right.
and actually, if you can see we've zoomed in on that map. So this is where Venice is. So Venice is top right-hand corner of Italy. And this area, this is the Prosecco region. So in the same way Champagne comes from the Champagne region, to be called Prosecco, it has to come from this area. So
Right.
all of the grapes are grown in this area. So it's two regions, nine localities within there, but it's basically Veneto and Friuli. So this borders Slovenia, Croatia, Slovenia. So basically you've got the Adriatic Sea just to the south, so some Venice there, that's basically on the sea. And then to the north, you've got the Dolomites. So this area is, this is DOC Prosecco.
So it's actually about an hour from Venice, and unless an Italian is driving, it's usually what, about 20 to 30 minutes, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's about an hour, yeah, unless you're with an Italian, and it's a lot quicker. So
there you go. Let's talk about the Prosecco pyramid and which grapes actually make up Prosecco.
So the main grape, so to be called Prosecco, the grape, it's basically has to be 85% Glera grape. And that is the big difference basically between Champagne and Prosecco. Prosecco is all about Glera. And the Glera grape it's kind of high in acidity, low in sugar, but it's a hardy little grape. And this area where it's grown, so Val d'Obbiadene and the area where Mionetto is from, it's a microclimate in itself. So having the mountains to the north, so during the day you get the warm air from the Adriatic coming in, and then in the evening the cold air from the mountain comes back down. So this hilly, regionous area grows a beautiful grape. And the Glera, in terms of flavors, it's basically apples, blossom, pear, and honey. So it's very, very approachable, and it makes, stunning sparkling wine.
That shift in the temperature really keeps that crispness and that freshness, and that's exactly what you want in a really fantastic Prosecco.
Yes, I would say the whole style, so all of Mionetto, and really, Prosecco in general, it's all about approachability and refreshment.
Right.
So, Prosecco is fresh. In fact, the sooner you drink it, the better. So it's all about freshness. But yeah, the Glera grape, very, very approachable. So
I understand that it's our wine, Mionetto, is so fresh, it's actually made on demand. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, unlike other wines, so, Prosecco should be drunk as fresh as possible. So at Mionetto, we bottle to order, meaning we don't, bottle every month. We bottle when the orders come in, and then we send them straight out, meaning that the products that you see on the shelf, the bottles on the shelf, are guaranteed to be as fresh as possible.
So, yeah, they're not sitting in some warehouse in southern Italy just collecting dust and waiting for next year to be sold, which is not what you want to drink when you want a fresh, crisp, interesting Prosecco. And speaking of crisp Proseccos, why don't we begin tasting the Proseccos? Yeah, let's go ahead and begin with the Mionetto Prestige Brut. This is the one that I actually tasted back in 1997, 1998, somewhere in that area. And I remember just saying to myself, wow, this is fantastic. So tell us about it, Jimmy.
So this is our Doc Treviso. So basically, this is really the house style of Mionetto. It is, we are most proud of this. It's absolutely phenomenal. So quick one, by the way, whenever you're opening any bottles of sparkling wine, quick tip from someone who's opened a few bottles in his time: always hold the bottle at an angle, and then hold the cork and turn the bottle. Not right. So by doing that, it should never fizz over. So you can save that, unless of course you want to spray it. But this is probably the right way to do it. So turn the bottle, not the cork. So this is Doc Treviso.
What is Doc? What is Doc when you say Doc?
Yeah, Doc. Sorry, I should have told you that. So DOC stands for, it's an acronym that in Italian stands for Denominazione Originale di Controllato, which means it's a controlled, defined region. So
Right.
you actually look on all bottles of Prosecco, you'll see there's a little strip stamp, and that's actually a part of the Italian, so the consortium, and you'll see on that, it says DOC on that. So that shows it's basically a stamp of authenticity, that this has come from the Prosecco region.
Right, so it's basically the DOC is that or it's like an origin basically. The O, I believe, stands for origin, and it's control, so that all that fruit's coming from that DOC area, which is Treviso.
Exactly. So, and in fact, the Prosecco DOC, even though Prosecco has been made in Italy probably since the 12th century. I mean, it's really gained in popularity in the last 10 to 15 years. But in terms of an official DOC, it was only relatively recently that it became established as a DOC. So that was in 2009.
I see.
And basically the rules there are it has to be 85% Glera grape, and it has to come from that region.
Why are you drinking it out of a wine glass? You told me to make sure I poured it in a wine glass instead of a champagne flute.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
So for Prosecco, we love, it's very casual. We generally love a nice big white wine glass. This really allows the aromas and the flavors to come out. So if you're hopefully smelling now the DOC Treviso, I hope in terms of the aroma you get golden apples, honey, maybe some white peach there. In terms of the taste, it's very, very well balanced.
It's funny when you say the words, apples and honey and even a little pear. And then I put my nose into the glass, all of a sudden those scents actually explode, and it's like my brain tells my palate to look for these things, and it's really interesting how that works.
I think, as consumers, we're often quite challenged with the vocabulary to use on what we're tasting, and we often need a bit of a nudge and a bit of a help. But we're not trying to lead the witness here. But these are the general flavors that
What would you drink this with, Jimmy? What would you eat? What would you eat with this? Excuse me, not drink with this.
I mean, the Doc Treviso, this is as democratic as it gets. So I basically say just any food. No, I'm exaggerating, but we say pizza, pasta, mac and cheese, hamburger, fried food. It goes really, really well with. I think even spicy food. So Thai. This is a delicious aperitivo drink, and also during the meal. So
last night I had sushi, and I had some Mionetto with our sushi, and it was fantastic because some of the bites were sweet with the sweet sauces. Some of the bites were spicy with I can't remember the name of it, but wasabi. But the Mionetto just performed extremely well. It actually kind of like cleaned up your palate, and you were ready for the next flavor explosion of sushi. So it was really beautiful.
Yeah, well, I think the general, this is a brut, which means it's relatively dry. There are sweeter Proseccos out there. So Mionetto, the Doc Treviso style, this that we're most proud of. This is a brut, so it's not too sweet. It's you've got higher levels of acidity. It's only 11% in alcohol, so it's not it's not too high in alcohol, meaning that you can enjoy a glass or two.
Sure.
So it's really great in that sense.
I understand you can actually add something sweet to it and some ice cubes and a few other things to make a nice little drink, which you call what?
You can indeed. So if you've Prosecco, it's we always promote it to be drunk by itself to start with, but it does make fantastic cocktails. So probably the most famous is the Aperol Spritz. And we are the preferred Prosecco by Aperol, so we're their partner in that sense. And it's a really simple cocktail to make. So it's equal parts, basically, Aperol, Mionetto, Doc Treviso, and a splash of soda water. And you put that in again, a wine glass filled with ice. So really simple, only 2 ingredients. And it's a beautiful orange colored drink that's very refreshing. Again, low in alcohol. And it's one of those drinks that when people see someone else drinking it, you want to drink one yourself. So
they're easy to make. I mean, literally, Aperol, Prosecco, a little bit of, you can either use like soda water. In Italy, they actually used white wine, a little splash of white wine in it as well. So Aperol Spritz, Spritzes are really fantastic. And I've tried them with other Proseccos, and to be honest with you, when you have it with Mionetto, you're right. It is a marriage of 2 great flavors, because that dryness of the Mionetto and that sweetness of the Aperol really comes together. Really, really tasty.
Yeah, well, I think it's all about, so it's, you know, Mionetto is perfectly balanced and it's not too sweet. So if you do use a sweeter Prosecco in your Aperol Spritz, the sweetness can be a little bit overpowering.
Right.
So
let's move on to the next wine. What do you have? The Prestige Organic?
Yeah, great. So this is you know, fantastic. I'm going to open this one. So this one is Mionetto Organic. I'm going to pour a little taste of this. So we're really proud of this. We were the world's first organic Prosecco. We created this and launched this back in 2008. And it was actually through a request from Whole Foods, who came to us and said, would you ever consider, you know, creating an organic Prosecco? And so to clarify, we work with 40 to 50 wine growers in the region. And we've been these are long-standing relationships that we've been buying grapes from them from. And Alessio, our winemaker, he has personal relationships with all of these wine growers, and it's generally a handshake. And these relationships have been probably over 50 years long. We've actually worked with, so 3 of our wine growers are 100% organic certified. So everything about this product is organic. So in terms of the viniculture, so there's no synthetic chemicals or fertilizers used. Even down to the bottles recyclable glass. We use recycled paper. So everything about it is organic. And in terms of tasting, Nick, I hope you've got a glass there. So
I do.
This one,
organic.
Quite a different nose. I get a lot more green apples on this one versus the golden apples for Doc Treviso.
Yeah, this one definitely has a little bit more of that green apple-y, and even, I don't know if you can smell minerality. Some people say yes, some people say no, but you can just feel it drier. It's a little bit drier.
Yeah, I mean, this one I get you know, elderflower, I think is, you know, really coming through. In terms of the taste, I think it's an explosion of green apple. I get pineapple in here, probably even a bit of orange. But yeah, I mean, I think this one's absolutely delicious. In terms of food pairings for this, if I'm being really decadent, I'd go with oysters. If I'm being a bit more traditional, I'd probably go with, I think it's a wonderful aperitif. It goes great with stinky cheeses like gorgonzola, dates. I think it goes great with figs. Try it with prosciutto and ham, or just a really simple green salad. I mean, it actually goes great with a steak, a hearty steak. The organic really holds out well through that. So,
what a delicious wine! I really love this wine. I just like the flavor profile, the nose. It's just like you said, you get a little bit of elderflower. It's got a different palate, a taste on the palate. Really beautiful. Really, a gorgeous wine.
Yeah, so it's you know, the vineyards in the heart of Treviso, but as I said, organic growers. It's you know, probably a touch sweeter than the Doc Treviso, but yeah, it's a really special Prosecco.
Let's move on to the Mionetto Prestige Rosé.
Okay.
Get that one out here.
Great. So the rosé. So if you actually look at the label on this, this is not technically a prosecco. So it's actually an Italian. It's a rosé Italian sparkling wine. So actually, this one, I'm going to pour it in here. So this is not a prosecco. So we don't use Glera grapes for this. So this is actually two different red grapes. So it's a Raboso from the Veneto region. So from the same region of prosecco, and then it's actually a Legrand, which is from Trentino. So further north, further up the mountains. You know, I think this is a phenomenal sparkling rosé.
And people love rosés right now. Rosé is such a hot topic, especially in the summers. It just seems to pick up stride. But I also see people drinking rosé throughout the winter months. So rosé is really great, and the color on this and the nose is beautiful.
Yeah,
tell us about it.
You're absolutely right. I think there's a misconception that that rosé is only about the summer. We actually see our sales for rosé are pretty constant all year round. It does bump a bit in the summer, but I drink rosé all year round.
So do I.
Yeah, in terms of, so this is an extra dry. In terms of the nose, I mean the color, yeah, it's brilliant peach. In terms of the nose, I get pink grapefruit, pomegranate, blackcurrant. I think there's a lot of berries here.
A little bit of raspberry. Right away, I got that pink grapefruit as soon as you said it.
Yeah.
And that raspberry.
Yeah, and then I think, you know, it's very well balanced. You know, this is more robust than a Provence style rosé. So I actually think that it holds up better with food, in my opinion.
Yeah, it kind of bursts. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is wonderful as an aperitif again. It goes great. I mean, the food recommendations for this are it's seafood all the way. So whether it's fresh seafood or grilled seafood, the Mionetto, you know, sparkling rosé, it works really well throughout a seafood meal.
By the way, if anyone has any questions, please type them into the chat. We'd love to answer any questions that you may have. If we don't know, we can Google it, but I'm sure we know.
Yeah, or if we don't know, we'll just make it up. No,
that's
we won't.
right.
Yeah, so in terms of a nose, I mean, in terms of, you know, taste on this one, Nick, I get, you know, a lot of red berries, strawberries. You know, this is wonderful summertime, all day rosé drinking. Rosé
all day, as my wife says.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, this one comes in the little 187 bottles, along with also the Brut. So these are great little sizes that are fantastic to pop in the fridge or pop in your cooler. So it's the perfect size for one glass. It means it's super fresh and super fizzy. So as I said, for all your Prosecco's, you really, if you buy a bottle of Prosecco and you take it home, do not put it in the cupboard. Put it in the fridge and then drink it, because I think, you know, Prosecco in general has that delightful knack of feeling celebratory, even in and informal at the same time. So there's really there's no need for a celebration to open a bottle of Mionetto. You can
and those small bottles, Jimmy, those 187s, those are twist off too, right? So if you take them camping, you throw them in your on ice, you just twist them right off. Yeah, no dealing with a cork or anything.
So no bottle opener required. So super simple. But yeah, we love those, and you know, people put a straw in it and drink it out of the bottle, or just pop it into a glass. But very, 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 very simple.
I love it. We actually have a question in our chat. We have our first question. Do you know exactly when we introduced the organic? What year that was?
Yeah, so the organic, we launched that in 12 years ago, so 2008.
Wow, we were way ahead of the whole organic craze.
Yeah, we were the first organic prosecco.
Let's see, another question that they had. And what is the reason it has a more organic and earthy tone? What actually is the reason? Is that the winemaker that just decided when he was making the wine, he wanted to make it with a more earthy tone?
Well, both wines are 100% Glera grapes. But yeah, it would be the choice of Alessio. So yeah, it's definitely got more of a, I'd say more of an earthy, green, green flavor. So yeah, it's those, just because it's from those 3 specific vineyards that we get the grapes from.
And I have asked the winemakers these types of questions, and typically winemakers, when I ask them questions about, what makes it this, they're like, that's just the way I made it. And it's almost like, that's just the way I've envisioned it. I saw it. I wanted it to taste this way. And when I made it, I did this. So it might have had a little bit of extra skin contact. There's so many little things that could happen in terms of how the wines are made. Let's go into a couple other questions. When is Prosecco supposed to be enjoyed? Is it just, I know that you talked about it during with food, but I mean, literally, can you enjoy Prosecco anytime?
I mean, absolutely. I'm going to be drinking a glass of Prosecco today, tomorrow, and certainly the next day. But in terms of time of the day, absolutely. It's an aperitif, but it's great throughout the meal. It works superb in cocktails. But yeah, it's it lasts really, really well throughout the meal.
Yeah, I actually enjoy Prosecco while I'm cooking, because it's really light in alcohol, so I feel like I still have my wits about me. I enjoy it while I'm eating my starter. If it pairs well with my entree, great. And even with some desserts, I mean, it can go extremely well with some desserts. Let's see, we have another question here. Which is the best one for brunch pairing?
So I'd probably say, our brunch favorite is the Dr. Treviso. So this, as we know, it's wonderful by itself. It makes a fantastic Aperol spritz. It makes a brilliant, we call it a mimosa. So it's our take on the mimosa. But that would be my brunch go-to for
a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of Mionetto Brut Prestige, huh?
Exactly. That's perfect for a little bit of a Sunday fun day.
Even a little bit of peach, like a Bellini.
Makes a fantastic Bellini as well. 100%.
Last question, Jimmy. Which one is your favorite?
The one I'm drinking right now. Which I'm going to say, no, my favorite is the Dr. Treviso. This is our, the house style. That's my go-to. So, but generally I always say the one that's in my glass right now.
Fantastic. So. Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you for the time. I can't believe 30 minutes has actually passed. That was quick. Joshua, what is the ratio of Aperol to Mionetto? It's what you like. Typically 1-to-1, but I mean, I typically go a little heavier on one depending on my flavor profile. But I wanted to answer Joshua's question before we signed off. But Jimmy, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for the explanation of Mionetto, the history, the region where it's from, the grapes. It was fantastic. I'm going to hand it right off to you for the farewell.
No, well, it's been lovely sharing a glass of Mionetto with you all. So I will say arrivederci and ciao, buona serata and salute. So
grazie.
Grazie.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for attending. We'll see you soon.